Hello, welcome back to another webinar from AuctionMethod. My name is Daniel West. I'm the Vice President of Sales. I'm also one of the co-founders of AuctionMethod. I used to be an auctioneer back in the day. My father was an auctioneer, and I've been living, breathing, eating, and drinking auctions for as long as I can remember, at least oh, 20, 30 years now. So today we are talking about the exciting topic. The title of this webinar is SEO is dead. Um, it's kind of a captivating title, but we'll talk about what it means in this day and age of all these changes with artificial intelligence and sort of modern methods of being found. Anyway, we're going to go ahead and start the presentation. What I wanted to point out though is you are welcome, to submit questions and answer or questions rather, and I'll try to answer them at the end of the webinar. If I don't get to you or you have lingering questions or you just want to talk a little bit more, feel free to message me. My email address is daniel@auctionmethod.com. So, without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and start my presentation here. I'll share my screen. And here we go. So I did, on the title for the presentation, I did bring it down a little bit, bring it down a notch. Really what we're talking about is just how buyers and sellers find you as an auctioneer. So you've probably noticed this. If you haven't, you've been living under a rock, but search is different nowadays than it used to be. People um, aren't finding you necessarily in the same ways that they used to. They might be using the same tools, but the way that they find you is different, primarily because of artificial intelligence. You'll notice now, whenever you do a Google search, you're getting a recommendation right up at the top, an answer to your question, if you will. That's an artificial intelligence answer right up at the top of the list. And so it's not quite the same as it used to be, where you just are looking down a list of potentially good search results and picking and choosing the websites that you want to go to. Instead, the answers are being delivered right to you. And if you're anything like me, you're probably using an AI chatbot to help you research and find things as well. So you might be using GPT, you might be using Gemini, you might be using Copilot, you might be using Grok, you might be using Claude, DeepSeek, you name it. There's all kinds of chatbots out there willing to help you find the answers. The question is, given these shifts in the way that people are getting answers to their questions and how they're finding things on the internet, how does an auction company stay relevant? How do they get found within this new paradigm? The good news, I think anyway, is that with the increasingly fast rise in artificial intelligence and new technologies, um, what actually matters more and more now is something that's rather old-fashioned, and that is something that's very human, something that we're good at. So it used to be from a search engine optimization standpoint, you had to think like a bot, and you had to play games with your content, and you had to structure your data in a certain way so that these bots, these robots from Google and Bing and Yahoo and wherever, they could find your content and rank you appropriately. And there were all kinds of shenanigans, all kinds of games being played with search engine optimization. Now, it's not actually true that search engine optimization is dead. It is still true that your data needs to be structured and accessible and all of this, right? None of the old sort of SEO fundamentals have gone out the window. They're as important as they ever have been. But there's sort of an assumption that if you're operating today, doing online auctions today, or have an online auction website, that probably you already have the basics of the basic SEO practices at work. Um, and so we can focus this discussion primarily on what else you can do besides sort of basic SEO. All the old methods of doing things like keyword stuffing and sort of fake content, or even if you go way back, putting like hidden text on the page, that kind of stuff, it doesn't mean anything. In fact, it'll just hurt you moving forward. So let's, just jump right into it. The very first thing is that Google is still as relevant as it ever has been, still the number one search engine. They actually own the number two search engine as well, which is YouTube. Um, but this is something that I notice a lot of auctioneers missing the mark on, especially startups and smaller sort of mom and pop auction companies. But even if you're a medium size or a larger auction company, I think it's important to pay attention to what I'm about to say. So, uh, there is an actual business profile for your company, or there should be on Google. If you have not claimed your business profile on Google yet, do it today. You're missing a valuable opportunity if you don't claim your business profile. Chances are, though, that if you're here listening to a webinar about auctioneering and search engine optimization, probably you've already done the basics and you've claimed your Google listing. Um, but it's really, really, really important that um, that your profile be complete and that it be fresh. And so I want to stress this. This is really, really important that your profile, when you go to claim your profile or go to update your profile, there are all kinds of fields in there about your company, what categories you serve, what region you serve, what days and times are you open. There's all kinds of questions. You need to answer every single question asked about your company. Every field should have an entry in it. And you want to be honest in terms of how you answer this. And what I mean by this, for example, is there might be a temptation by a general auctioneer to say that you serve the all of North America, right? But that might actually weaken your position. That if you're really a local auctioneer and you primarily serve, your particular region, be honest about that because that'll actually surface you higher in the mix when that's what people are looking for. So don't be too grandiose, right? Don't overinflate. Be honest in terms of how you list yourself. Besides that, some things that auctioneers are not doing across the board is they're not adding pictures to their Google business profile. It's a incredibly valuable space for you to add content, and the content that people really like to see on Google business profiles is are pictures. And so, like pictures of what? Well, pictures of your auction yard, pictures of your staff, pictures of all kinds of things. You name it, right? People, you want people to be interested in you. Well, put some interesting information online, some cool pictures, something that would captivate you. Put yourself into your audience's shoes and imagine that you're looking for an auction company, either because you're looking to buy or you're looking to sell. And then, imagine how you would feel if you came across a business profile on Google that had the kind of pictures that you intend to share. So, if you sell heavy equipment, show some heavy equipment, right? If you're a live auctioneer and you sell chickens on Friday night, that's fine. Show the action, right? Like show the crowd out there, show some chickens. It doesn't really matter, right? Like provide some visibility into like who you are. Show your business personality in these pictures. It's important. And don't just stop because you did it one time. Like you should be refreshing the pictures on your Google profile at least once a quarter, minimum. That'd be 4 times a year, right? Go in there and just add a few more pictures. It's not that hard. It's going to take you a couple minutes at most. If you are making a good habit of this, though, you should also be making posts on Google business profiles. This is something very few auction companies are doing. In fact, I don't know that I've ever actually seen one do it properly. And that is, you can actually post your upcoming events. You can post offers as well, and you can post updates. Um, but at the very least, I know you have events. You wouldn't be an auctioneer if you didn't have some auctions going on. So post your auction events to your Google business profile. Makes all the sense in the world. More opportunities to share more about you, and allows you to surface in the search results and in the AI answers much better. And so the other last thing I want to say about the Google listing is you'll want to make sure that the details, the contact details, your website, your phone number, email, whatever, all the contact details, your social media handles, that they're the same, that they're complete, and that they're the same across all of your social media, across your website, everywhere you go. You want your contact information to be exactly the same, displayed in the same format, all of that. That allows these bots, if you will, these search engines and AI tools to recognize that this is one entity and these are different web domains, if you will, that belong to the same business entity. So make sure that the contact details are the same across the board. Last but not least, Google is not the only one that has a business profile for you. A lot of companies miss out on Bing. Not everybody is using Bing. It's not the most popular search engine out there, but it is a runner-up, and there are people using it. And so make sure that you can actually go into Bing and you can tell it to emulate or copy, import, if you will, your Google listing. So go do your Google listing first, and then you can import that data into your Bing listing as well. But make sure you do both of these things and keep them fresh and updated. what one of the probably the number one most important thing about your business in terms of like your Google profile or your Bing profile or whatever is are reviews, customer reviews. You know this is true when you're looking for a restaurant, right? You're looking for a bite to eat. You know that you're probably not going to go for a restaurant that has 3.5 stars and where people where there are recent reviews complaining about the cockroaches and the hair in the food and the bad service and all of that, right? You're not going to go there because you can't trust it. You actually trust the reviews, and so your business is no your auction business is no different. You need to have some customer reviews on there. Trust is, auctioneers are essentially trust brokers. And so, how can you be trustworthy or viewed as trustworthy if there aren't people sort of vouching for you? Who is it that's vouching for you? Your customers, your bidders, your buyers, your sellers. That's who should be posting reviews about you. But they're not going to do it without you encouraging them to do it. So if you notice your own experience in posting reviews, I don't know, if you do post reviews or share reviews online, you'll notice the main motivation for sharing a review is when you have a bad experience because you want to punish the company. And so you can go and you can post a negative review and air all your grievances and let off some steam. And that's the primary motivator for posting a review. But hopefully people are not having terrible experiences with you, and instead hopefully they're having really good experiences with you. Buyers are having a good time, they're having fun, they're getting good deals, they're enjoying your customer service, they love how responsive you are. Same with the sellers. You did such a good job, you really listened to them, you didn't gouge them, whatever the case might be. The way to make this a habit is to train yourself and your staff. Everybody within your business should be trained to recognize when someone's giving you a compliment. So someone answers the phone, someone sends an email, or is in person, like a bidder or a seller, and they say something nice about you. Your reaction should be, "Thank you. Would you be willing to post a review about us? Would you be willing to share that on Google, for example?" Google's not the only review site, but it's the one that matters, at least do it there. Minimum do it there. Um, and you should be encouraging everywhere you go on your invoices. You should have a little line. Did you enjoy bidding with, acmeauctions.com? If so, click this link to leave a positive review on Google. If you didn't have a positive experience, let us know instead of leaving a review, right? Like tell them what you want. Tell them that you want to talk to them if they're not happy, but also tell them that if they enjoyed the experience, that you want them to review you. And so you can do this not just with direct links from your website, from your invoices, but also, on site. You can have QR codes. You've probably seen these again at restaurants or at small businesses. There are QR codes on the wall when people come to, in your case, they're coming to pick up their goods, for example. Um, and that QR code should be a nice, big, friendly review us on Google, right? They could review you on Yelp or wherever as well, but just start with Google. It's a good place to begin. And you can get from your Google My Business profile page, you can actually get a direct link that takes, you don't have to like leave people guessing. You don't have to make them search for you. You can take them straight to the review page for your business profile. There's a link in the Google Business profile for that. And you can put that into a QR code, print it up, put it everywhere, and encourage everybody. Reward your staff, reward people for soliciting positive reviews from people. But you're not only going to get positive reviews. Um, it's kind of living in la la land because probably people are going to have some negative experiences as well. And if they see you soliciting positive reviews, they're going to know that reviews matter to you and that you're paying attention. Good. They might post something negative about you. They might say something that hurts your feelings. Okay? Just accept that. It's true. Um, but don't get too bent out of shape because even a negative review is a golden opportunity for you to do two things. Well, three things. On the one hand, you can search yourself, a little personal reflection on your business. Did you screw up? Did you treat this person poorly? Do they have cause? Or is it just somebody who misunderstood the terms and conditions or somebody who has buyer's remorse or whatever? They failed their obligations and now they're complaining. Whatever the case might be, do hear the criticism, do receive the feedback and reflect on it. Secondly, you might actually mend that relationship. You might be able to reach out to that person and say, whoa, 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 I saw your review and my goodness, I want to make things right with you, however I can do it, right? Please. The third thing, and this is where I think the golden opportunity really lies, is your response is you should respond to every single review. If it's a positive review, just say thank you, and make sure you put keywords into the thank you. That's where sort of search engine optimization mindset comes in handy. Where let's say somebody says, oh man, I had such a great time buying tractors or farm equipment from acmeauctions.com. Say thank you. That's wonderful. And say, that last auction had a lot of John Deere tractors. It had some Ferguson tractors. It had some antique tractors. It had some modern ones. You see, we're using keywords, some brand names. It had farm equipment. It had tillage equipment. It had plows. It had all kinds of good stuff. Everything that a modern farmer might need. You see what I'm saying? Thank you for attending that auction of farm equipment with us. We really appreciate that you had a good experience. We hope you come back. Those are good experience. That's great when you're responding to positive reviews. When you're responding to a negative review, leave your ego out of it. If you're angry at the review, you think it's unjustified, you feel like it threatened because it might potentially harm your business, stop. Don't respond. You're not ready yet, right? Wait, sit with it, let it mellow a little bit. Use it as an opportunity again to be honest. Don't BS anybody online, right? Nobody likes that and they can smell it. Just be sincere and be kind and be understanding in your response. Like, oh man, you know, I recognize that you're really upset because um of whatever happened. You didn't follow the rules that we set out, and we enforced those rules, and now you're upset about that, and we recognize that. We're going to do everything in our power to be more clear about the rules, the terms and conditions of auction, for example, right? We hear you, and we don't want people to be in, we don't want anybody to be upset with us. And, so we're gonna do everything we can to make sure that people aren't upset like you are upset in the future. But we still appreciate your business and we hope that you'll come back. That kind of thing, right? That's only going to help your reputation because if all you have is people saying good things about you, that's not as trustworthy as, if you got 95 positive reviews out of 100 and then you got five negative reviews, people will actually see that as an indicator of trust. So how you respond to the negative reviews is very, very important, but you got to make this a habit. You have to, okay? Okay, if you've been around me or had any conversations with me about marketing or, how to get exposure, how to attract buyers and sellers, you probably are sick of hearing this, but you have to put yourself on video. You have to. It's in this day of TikTok and Instagram and Reels and YouTube Shorts and all of that, if you're not using short form video content in your business, well, you're not trying, right? And I can say that with a lot of confidence that you're missing a huge opportunity if you're not putting yourself on video. You might say, well, I take videos of all the cars I sell. Okay, that's nice. That's good. Videos of the items that you're selling. Wonderful. Actually, bravo. That I'm not knocking that. That's great. That's actually, better than a lot of companies. So wonderful. That's not what I'm talking about here. What I'm talking about are videos of you, the human being, right? Actually talking. Let people see you. That's what I think is such a wonderful thing about the rise of artificial intelligence and all these sort of digital creations and stuff is people are actually hungering for human connection and for real, genuine, non-AI produced content. So what that means for you is like you don't have to have some high production value. You see this picture on the right hand side on the screen. This guy's got like a professional studio and he's all, he's got his sport coat on and he's got a professional camera and all that. Not like that. Don't do that. Just whip out your phone, keep it in vertical mode, right? So the short form video content is always almost always in a vertical format, right? Rather than the traditional sort of landscape format. You can it's essentially just a selfie, right? That's fine. It doesn't have to be in a selfie format, but that's easy to do and something that, anybody nowadays with a phone should be able to grab a quick video. It doesn't have to be long. In fact, if it's long, people will lose interest. Under 1 minute is perfect. What kind of videos should you be doing? All kinds, all kinds. Show yourself. Don't hide. Let's say you're going to go meet with a potential seller who has some interesting items for sale. You haven't even closed the deal yet, right? You're just going to meet with a potential seller. Take a video. Maybe it's you driving, maybe it's you walking, maybe it's you sitting in the office. Who cares? It doesn't really matter. It's just you. You don't have to put makeup on, nothing like that. It's okay. Just be real, be genuinely you. Take a video that says something like, "Hey, I'm so excited, without naming names, I'm gonna go and meet with a potential seller who has some really cool stuff. I'm really hoping that we get this auction because I want to bring it to you, my bidders. Like whatever, maybe you're religious, pray for me, right? Send positive vibes my way. It doesn't really matter. Be you, let your personality shine through, and then post it. Where do you post it? Well, you got multiple channels, right? Hopefully, I mean, you're here at this talk, this webinar, so you probably have Facebook, you probably have Instagram, and you probably have YouTube. Uh, you use them. Post the reel to all of those locations, right? So if you have TikTok, post it on TikTok as well, right? Like whatever social media outlets you have, that's where you post the video. And to the degree that maintain the search engine optimization mindset, make sure you put keywords in your title and your description. You don't have to overdo it. Just, don't miss that part as well. Like it's still important to put keywords in there, like the name of your company or, the asset types that you sell. And just create a lot of this content. Just don't stop and encourage your staff to do the same. Uh, don't be shy or embarrassed to let your personality shine because, again, that's what people are hungering for. Everything is so artificial online. Everything is so fake. Everything is AI. We don't know what's real, what's not. The more that it's actually just you, maybe it's even, something as boring as, you have an office meeting with everybody on deck and you're serving lunch and you just do a video around the room, with everybody smiling faces and say, check out what Acme Auctions is having for lunch today. We're having a meeting talking about upcoming sales and how much we love our bidders. I'm not going to give you a script. You should be authentic and genuine in your expression of your own personality, but also, the sort of the persona of your company, which is an extension of that. What other kind of videos can you do? Well, you can do, like let's say you're doing auction setup. Auction setup is not always glamorous, right? Like, I don't know if you're doing an estate liquidation. Sometimes you come across nasty things, things that are like really gross or fascinating, or you don't know what they are. This one's classic. Your bidders and everybody out there will love it. Everybody loves to play a game of what's this? So you just grab your phone and you say, "Hey, I'm setting up this auction and look at this weird thing that I found. This weird, disgusting, this fascinating, this rare, you name it, human interest thing that I found. Look at this. What is it? What is this thing? If you know what it is, ping me, right? People love it. Now you've got community engagement. You've got people thinking about you and being like, man, wow, he's out in the field or she's out in the field and look at this interesting thing. I don't know what it is. I'm going to go research it. I'm going to go think about it. You've got people buying into your auction before the auction's even started. What if you don't have anything interesting? Let's say you're at a tow yard and all you got is a bunch of beat up old cars, right? What about the junkyard dog, right? That mangy old mutt that's laying there wagging his tail every time you walk by, or the one-eyed cat? A video. Get a video of it. People love cats. People love dogs, right? Like show it off. It's great. It's fantastic. Um, I used to do liquidation bankruptcy auctions. What I used to love to do way back in the day is to interview the people whose businesses I was liquidating. These were actually longer form videos, where I would sit down and sort of start from the beginning. How did you get into the business? How did you like it? What did you learn? And how did it all end? That's a human interest story, and it's quite fascinating. But in this day and age, it may be too long actually of a content to share. But if your sellers are up for it, engage them as well, right? Get them to buy in, show their face. Everybody loves to be seen and heard and validated and feel like they're important. Some people are shy about the camera, and that's okay. You don't need to push it. If somebody doesn't want, if they're camera shy, that's understandable. But ask, ask, say like, hey, I'm liquidating your business, or I'm selling your car, or whatever it is. You're my consigner. I was wondering, would you mind just a recording here? I'll hold up my phone. You record a short video. Tell me a little bit about the stuff that you're selling with us today, and whether you're enjoying the experience. Now check this out. A seller says, "Oh, sure, no problem," and they give you a short little video. You're going to post that online. Once you finish recording the video, you say to the seller, "That was really kind of you. That was nice of you to say that you liked me and that you enjoy selling with me. Would you like to post a review? I'd love it if you posted a review on Google. Here's the link. Oh my gosh, I'll send it to you later. I'll email it to you or I'll text it to you because what I heard you saying such positive things about me, I could use your hand. I need your help to build, my review, my reputation, right? People love to help. So ask for it, right? I don't know. I can't stress it enough, right? Ask them to help you create content. Make the videos. Ask them to help you with writing reviews. People, even if what's the worst? They're going to say no. That's fine. You asked. They said no. It's totally valid. It's okay. Um, I don't want to belabor this point too much, but you can do day in the life videos. Those can be a lot of fun. How it works, how the auction business works, how the selling process works, how bidding works. These don't have to be long, complex videos. These are not like tutorials. It's just you talking, right? It doesn't have to be anything fancy. It could be real simple. A lot of people ask me how max bids, also known as proxy bids, how they work. Let me just tell you, in our system, you can enter your bid amount, blah, 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 and you can retract that bid if it doesn't work. Say what you got to say. That's it. Make it a 30-second video. It does not have to be long. Um, the other two more things, I think results of auctions are really interesting, and no auctioneer is doing a good job of reporting on the results. So after the auction's over, record a short video, just again, just you talking about what you learned from that auction. Hey, we sold a fleet of cars for the city. And actually, the results weren't as great as we hoped because what we noticed is blah blah blah. There are trends within the market. I don't know really know. I can't speak to it, but whatever, right? Like talk about what you learned, talk about what's selling, what was trending, what's not. You have that kind of information and it's valuable stuff that your market, your sellers, your buyers will enjoy a lot. And last but not least, you can actually take a longer form video and very easily trim out little clips of it. So let's say that you have a 1 hour video presentation where you're doing, let's say, a webinar like this thing right here, right? You could take clips out of that video. And in fact, there's a tool that I really like. It's called Opus Clip. You might want to mark that down. OPUS Clip. You can take any YouTube video out there. You can take any video at all and drop it into this AI tool, and it'll generate as many short form video clips as you want. You could have clips for days from one single video. So that's a pretty handy way to create videos. Just film one time, and then take a bunch of excerpts from it and use that as short form video content. All right, you're probably tired of hearing me talk about videos. So let's move on to the next thing. Again, part of the beauty of this day and age is you don't have to be super sophisticated technology wise. Just be a good human being, right? Be helpful. Be active in your community. How can you be a good person while building your business? Well, the two things should be the same thing, right? Uh, you know, get involved, for example, on Facebook, Nextdoor, and of course on Reddit as well, right? Within your communities, wherever your community is. It doesn't have to be those three places. Those are the most obvious ones. But your community, the people that you serve might be somewhere else as well. Wherever that is, be present, be active, be engaged, and not just in a self-serving way where you're always hawking your services or telling people to come to your auctions. Just be present, helpful, engaged, uplifting, right? Is depressed, you see them and say like, "Oh my gosh, I hope you feel better," right? Sending thoughts and prayers, whatever it is that works for you. But, be genuine, be honest, be sincere, and be helpful. Um, so the other thing that you can do is, so again, you don't, let your advertising be your advertising and don't always be self-promotional. Your presence alone as a helpful, regular, presence within the community is enough. It's enough self-promotion. And so one of the things that you can do, one of the primary things that you can do is in fact to share your intimate, hard learned knowledge about what things are worth and the reality of the liquidation or disposition or auction or appraisal processes. You take for granted things that your average person who is your buyer or your seller or your client in one way or another doesn't understand and take, like they need more insight into. You have all this insight to share. And so what's stored in your brain is incredibly valuable. It doesn't always feel that way. Certainly it doesn't feel that way to me, but it turns out we have a lot of valuable information in there. And that valuable information is something that we share with other human beings, and we do it within these communal connections. We're responding to people's questions. We're sharing these valuable insights. The thing is that these AI tools, these bots, if you will, they're watching. They're watching everything. They're soaking everything in like a sponge. And they're making meaning out of it, and then they're serving that back up to people in the form of answers and referrals. And so if you're active and engaged in the community and you can be seen by human beings where you're helping human beings with valuable information that only you have, that valuable information is going to be picked up by the greedy bots. These AI tools and these search engine tools, they're incredibly greedy for information. And there's some information that is unique to you and your business model and your locality, right? You have information to share. And it's not just the humans within your community who are going to appreciate that, but you can just imagine that there's like always some type of a bot listening to you or watching you while you're online. And then they're going to take that back and they're going to process that and figure out like, who is this? Who is this company? And what are they on about? If you're active in your community and you're really helpful and you're sharing valuable insights, they're going to float your name to the top. When somebody says, like, hey, who do I talk to about selling my XYZ? They're going to say, talk to this person because not only do they have good reviews on Google, not only do I know everything about them from their website, but also I see that they're active on Facebook and they're active on Nextdoor and they're on Reddit. I saw them on Reddit helping somebody out and uplifting them. So that's the other thing that you could do there. Other ways, of course, is sort of, again, old-fashioned, right? There's a reason why it's Mr. Rogers on here. Good old-fashioned, good neighbor, you know, have appraisal days. Let your press know that you're doing appraisal days. So like Antique Roadshow kind of thing, right? Like, if you post this like on Eventbrite and on Facebook as events, people will show up. And even if they don't show up, guess who's listening? The bots, right? They're paying attention to it. So if you regularly, once a month have an event that shows up on Eventbrite and on Facebook that is a free appraisal day, and you put in there all the keywords, again, you still have that SEO mindset where you're always describing who you are and what you're doing in terms of the keywords and phrases that you want to optimize for, right? Um, then, even if nobody ever shows up to your events, when somebody asks ChatGPT, well, who should I go to? I'm in Saskatchewan and I'm selling sheep, and I need to know, the best. I need to get an appraisal evaluation in preparation for an auction of my entire herd of sheep. Who should I go to, right? It's going to put your name up there because your name is associated with appraising sheep in Saskatchewan. You see what I'm saying? And so like appraisal days are incredibly valuable. And if you have an office, like you have a place where people can come, just do it from your office. Not that big of a deal. If somebody shows up, give them a free appraisal. No big deal. It's okay if nobody shows up. Just keep doing the events. And traditional old school building referral relationships with whoever is with the important, first line of defense or whatever you want to call it in your community. Like if you're an estate liquidator, make sure that you're on good terms with all the realtors and attorneys, right? All right. That's enough about this. You get what I'm saying. Be a good neighbor, right? This is old fashioned. There's no technology really involved in this other than maybe like posting on Facebook and Eventbrite and stuff like that. But this is really just about being a good, helpful neighbor. All right. If you're one of my clients, you've already heard this spiel a million times before. I'll keep it somewhat short. You are a content marketer, what's technically called an inbound content marketer. And your content is all the stuff that you're selling, right? And how you're selling it too. But predominantly, when you're out there taking thousands and thousands, hopefully thousands and thousands of pictures and videos and documents and descriptions of all the things that you're selling, that content is so valuable. It is incredibly valuable. And so do a really good job with the pictures, first and foremost. If you're selling tangible assets, make sure that you take lots of really high quality pictures. I'm not saying that you have to be a professional photographer. What I mean is you got to do a good job creating virtual representations of the item that you're selling. So really good pictures, lots of them, and detailed descriptions. I see if, my clients and plenty of other auctioneers will have a listing online that says, lot of stuff, see pictures. That's lazy, and you're going to get what you deserve, which is nothing. Don't do that, right? If you catch your staff doing that, you know, don't let it happen, right? I was going to say something kind of fierce there, right? But you don't need to whip them. But don't be lazy with your listings. If it's worth selling, if it's worth creating a lot for, it's worth putting a title and a description in there. It's not that hard, especially in this day and age where you can use AI tools to help you create the listing. If you want to know more about using AI tools to enhance or enrich your listings, let me know. I'd be happy to talk to you. There's so much exciting territory there to cover as well. But in this day and age, it's embarrassing to see auctioneers who don't adequately describe the items that they're selling. And of course, you already heard me talk about it. Videos, 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 videos. Put videos. Use videos to show what you're selling. Do auction walkthroughs. Do videos of the items that you're selling, even if they don't even move. Like just you talking about the item. It could be a short video. It's okay. All right. But this is your best marketing tool, truly, the content that you create on your sites. But you've already heard me talk about it ad nauseum. Do a really good job with your listings, please. We touched on this earlier about your unique insights, but this is coming at it from a slightly different perspective, which is to say written content online. Um, so of course, like we were talking about, you can share information in these like short form video reels, if you want that kind of thing. But where your some of the unique information that you have that these greedy bots and humans are interested in are the results of your auction and your knowledge about the local market. That's something nobody else has out there. AI cannot generate that. It has to get its sources from somewhere. Otherwise, it's hallucinating. And, you can be the source of information that's used to create all those answers. So if somebody says, how are sheep selling in Saskatchewan right now? Then um, Google's answers or ChatGPT's answers have to be based on something. And there aren't going to be a lot of people who know how sheep auction sales in Saskatchewan are going. Not like you. If that's your business, you're the one who knows. But if you don't put that content out there in the form of blogs or LinkedIn articles or posts on Medium, there's all kinds of places to put this information. Your website's a great place to put it. Um, then it can't be found. Like if you're not putting it out there, if you're not generating this content in the first place, then the AI tools, the search bots, nothing is going to find it. So your post-sale results, both in terms of prices realized, trends within the market, things that you've learned about both the people that make up the market and the assets that they're trading in, is incredibly valuable content. And again, consider the fact that you are a content marketer, an inbound content marketer, meaning that if you put this information on your website and then promote it, right? So it's not just about creating it. So let's just say you write a blog post for every single auction after it's over about what you learned, what went well, what didn't go well. That would be an ideal sort of blog post. Then go and you share that blog post all over social media, LinkedIn, Facebook, everywhere, and you have a short form video reel talking about the blog. You see where I'm going with this? All of that's going to get sucked up by these greedy bots, right? Humans are going to be seeing it too. Don't get me wrong, right? But this is going to float your name to the top because if you give, you receive. If you give to these greedy bots, they will give right back to you. What do they want? They want valuable information that only you have. So give it to them, right? And they will give back to you tenfold, promise. This is classic, old school, have a mailing list, right? And it's okay if you just have, if you're a smaller company and just have one mailing list with all of your customers. But if you're a larger company, you should be segmenting your mailing list so that you're not driving people nuts with too many emails. Emails are less effective than they've ever been, but they're still really, really important. Right up there with mailing lists are text message lists, if you will, or subscriptions. It's very easy nowadays to collect people's cell phone numbers and to use that as a form of communication as well. You don't want to burn people up with too many messages, and that's why segmentation of your list based upon their buying habits and where they're located is super duper helpful. Um, and so the more personal your engagement is on these levels and the more targeted it is, the better it will, you better it'll perform for your business. But this isn't directly related to search engine optimization or to generative engine optimization, GEO, SEO. By the way, GEO, generative engine optimization, is what the tools and tricks for getting into the chatbots and the AI tools. That's what it's called. So SEO, GEO, we're really kind of talking about the same kind of thing. How do you get visible within these tools, these search tools and these AI tools? But I do think it's important to mention that if you don't already have, your own list of customers that you're regularly corresponding with, what are you doing? Are you really an auction marketer if you're not communicating with people who have already, purchased from you or bid with you? So please, make sure that you have a good mailing list, a good cell phone list, and communicate as regularly as possible in as personable a way as possible. And you'll get good results. That's how people will find you. I think this is the last point, which is related to, as auctioneers, we oftentimes focus on the buyers and on the items that we're selling. Nothing wrong with that. My mantra for years has been if you do a good job promoting your sales and reaching the buyers, then the sellers will come naturally. And I think that's still true, but you still want to create some content for the sellers. So some of that content is going to be in those short form video reels, if you will, but also just have at least one or two pages on your website related to the selling process. How should they, what's expected of them? How does it all work? That kind of thing. So do create some content for the sellers as well, so that they're not completely left out of it. You do want to send the message that you're in the business to sell on behalf of other people, on behalf of sellers or consigners, assuming that you are. Not every auction company is working for consigners, but the majority are. And so you don't want to leave them completely hanging. Answer some of their questions, because if you do answer their questions on your website and elsewhere, guess who's listening? The greedy bots, right? And so the information that you share online about how the selling process works will be shared with those bots. All right, this is a quick overview what you're going to do this month in order to get some traction here. Make sure you claim your Google business profile, complete the whole thing, post some pictures on there, maybe share some of your events, start getting reviews if you're not already, create some videos, have a sell with us page or update your sell with us page and start getting email addresses from bidders. All right, that's it. So these webinars are available, they're recorded and available on our website after they're recorded or after they're over. So you can always go to our website, auctionmethod.com, and find plenty of other webinars. You can follow us on social media. We are on Facebook and Instagram at least, also on LinkedIn. My personal or my professional profile on LinkedIn, Daniel West. Follow me on there, hit me up. I'd love to talk with you. Make sure you subscribe to our blog at auctionmethod.com. And if you have any questions or need some help with auction technology, you can email us at info@auctionmethod.com. So that is my presentation for today. Thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it. Um, I don't actually see any questions and answers. Let's see. Let me take a quick look. No, no Q&A at all. That's good. That means I must have answered all your questions. If I didn't, send us an email at info@auctionmethod.com. Otherwise, be well, take care, and I'll catch you next month.